Hey everybody, it's Sterling Valentine. Welcome to your Product Creation Masterclass as part of our Internet Marketing Masterclass series. Glad to have you. Product creation, really hot topic, very popular. People want to know, how do I create my own product? This is something I hear wherever I go, wherever I teach. It's like everybody's electrified about making their own products. The cool thing about products is that once you learn how to make them, it's almost like sort of just pulling money out of the air. You can just monetize your own knowledge and share it with people. You get to help them. You serve them by teaching them something that they didn't know, and you get money for just stuff that was sitting in your head anyway, not making you any money. But there's a downside. There's a dark side almost to product creation, and that's that. Unfortunately, sometimes it can be a real black hole of time, energy, and money. The most important thing is that I teach you what to do, but also what not to do, because I don't want you to fall into this sort of time sink where you're constantly creating this product but you never really finished because you haven't figured out some of the parameters that you need. And in that situation, I'd rather you not even make a product. So just by following my instructions, you're going to be able to make your own products quickly and easily, get the right things right, and not fall into a hole. So our masterclass objective for today is to learn some advanced strategies to quickly and easily create your own multimedia information products. Now when I say advanced strategies, I'm going to try to cover some basics, of course, because I love to cover basics always, but there's going to be some advanced tricks that I want to teach that I've never taught before. So let's go over some of our bullet points for tonight. I want to teach you some of the fastest ways I know to create my own products, your own products too. And keep in mind, none of this stuff that you're going to hear tonight is theory. This isn't just out of a book. This is stuff I've actually done. I've actually, created these products and I use them and I sell them. And so I want you to know that I'm teaching you stuff that's actually street proven, battle tested, and will work for you. And you can always get in touch with me if you have a question about it. I'm going to teach you which types of products to create and why, how to get paid to create them. This is a huge trick that I only know one other guy I heard about 7 years ago who was doing this. And I think it's just such a phenomenal idea to actually get paid to create them. And I know it sounds like one of those hypey things that you hear, but I'm doing it, I've done it, and it's actually almost so easy. You just want to smack yourself in the head and say, why didn't I think of that? So I'll teach you that tonight. Also, how to get others to do the work for you. It's not the way that you think, but it's actually better than the way that you might think, to get others to do the work for you. And then I threw this one in there because I think nobody teaches this enough: how to multi-purpose your content over and over again, or as my typo here says, agains. So rule number one in product creation: do your spell check, right? Okay, so let's talk about products for a second. What do we define info products as? What exactly is a product? Well, it could be a lot of different things. For example, you could create a PDF document, right? Which is just something that's downloadable and readable. And I want to quickly give you guys the PDF versus doc explanation. People get stuck on this a lot of times, and I don't think that they should. It may be basic for you, but just sit through real quick if you already know it. So a Word doc, DOC stands for document, is a file type. So you might have a letter.doc on your hard drive somewhere. That means that this is the name of the file, and this is the type of file on the end, doc. And then you might also have something called ebook.pdf. And that's the closed version of it. In fact, why don't I go and call these the same thing? Ebook doc and ebook PDF. What's the difference? Well, a doc means that you can open it up, just like I'm doing right now with this, and type it, change something, right? Change it, delete it, add it, whatever. But when you lock it into a PDF format, it's like a piece of glass has gone over it and it's sealed up. So nobody can go in there and click on any of the words anymore. It's solid and set in stone. So people can download it and read it and they can turn the pages, but nobody's actually able to open it and retype over it. So that's the difference between doc and PDF. So basically, a document that you would create in Word can just with one button push turn into a PDF. For those of you who are on Mac or don't use Microsoft Word, Google has a new feature called Google Docs, which is free, so you can use Google Docs instead of Microsoft Word, and it's the same thing. You make a doc up on Google Docs for free, edit it there all you want, and then save it as or print as a PDF, right? So if you want to look up any more about that, just type in Google PDF or Adobe, because that's the company that does PDFs, and you'll be able to find out all about PDF formats. And the reason I go into PDFs is because, to me, a PDF document is really the great heart, the starting point of internet marketing information products, because everybody can type a letter. Hey, if you went into AOL or Hotmail or Gmail and you type somebody an email, well, that's about as much technical skill as it requires to create an information product. You can start with just text. So I like to keep it simple, crawl before we walk and walk before we run. So make yourself a quick doc and turn it into a PDF. And the reason I say that is because I've actually even seen ebooks, which are really no more than a couple page documents, turned into a PDF. I mean, they really stretch the definition of e-books, electronic books. There was one guy I remember from several years ago who was a former airline pilot. Not pilot, I'm sorry, airline worker. Like he worked in the administrative area, some kind of cargo thing. And he knew all the ins and outs of getting the latest flight, cheapest, ticket prices. He knew all the tricks of the trade that he had used and learned in the industry. And so he put together, I think it was like a 3-page Word document into a PDF format that just had some phone numbers, a couple websites, and a couple little explanations of the tricks, and that's it. It was 3 pages, and he charged $27 for it. And I bought it, and you know what? It was really good. So the information that you have is valuable. And I think one of the things we often do, all of us, is we undervalue ourselves. We really think, well, what do I know that would be worth something? And you'd be surprised. There are markets where information products could be sold that you would not believe the amount of sales that you could make. If you know how to build a birdhouse, you might say to yourself, well, nobody wants to learn how to build a birdhouse. Hey, you'd be surprised. There are a lot of people who'd be interested in that. And if you can just do a little couple-page document on how to do it, you could even go to Fiverr.com or put it on eBay for $1. The point is, get started. Break the ice and start creating your own information products. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks how to do that tonight, but I want to break this down. Very easy. Do not undervalue what you know. And I'll give you the restaurant metaphor really quickly right now, because this is very helpful. If you don't necessarily know how, a particular set of information, how to do a certain thing, or you don't have the knowledge about how to build a birdhouse, can you still make money selling birdhouse information? Well, of course. Look at a book publisher. A book publisher publishes the information of the author, but they don't necessarily, the head of the publishing company doesn't know the expertise about what the book is about. He publishes the information. So the way that I try to help you see this is, think about working in a restaurant as a waiter or a waitress. The people go there because they want food, and they ask the waiter or waitress for the food. The waiter or waitress goes to the kitchen. Somebody else prepares the food, right? Not the waiter or waitress, unless it's like a one-man shop. Then when the cook's done, he rings that little bell, hands the food over to the waiter or waitress, and the waiter or waitress brings the food back to the person. Now, does the person who eats the dinner, if they think it's delicious and they like it, do they care if the waiter made it or the cook made it? They don't care who made the food, right? They just care that it serves their needs. So in the same way, you could easily be a waiter or a waitress, just go and take people's orders. You can do the same thing in information marketing. You can go find out what people need and get that information. You could either research it, or you could outsource somebody to research it by going to a place like Odesk or something like that, where you can just post something and ask somebody to do some research for you. Or you could even, maybe interview somebody, which is a really, really great tactic I want to talk a little bit more about with you a little bit later, because I've actually made a lot of money doing interview products. But do not get stuck in your mind that you have to be the expert. And for those people in the audience who may be a little negative and say, so you're telling people to be unethical and sell information even though they're lying because they don't know what they're talking about? No, don't be so negative. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying a journalist makes his living not knowing something. A detective makes his living not knowing. That's their job, is to find out. What does a doctor do? Asks you where it hurts. So, there's a lot of people that are professionally ignorant, and that's their job. They're ignorant about a subject. Hi, I'm standing outside of the building here on Channel 1 News, and I don't know what's happening, but we're going to go inside and find out for you, right? So you can be a waiter. You can go find the information and deliver it. And don't get hung up on it. Well, what do I know? Because if you just try to monetize what's in your head only, that's helpful. But there's a whole world of information out there waiting to be discovered and sold, right? People are buying and selling information all the time. And the number one thing that people type on the internet is, how do I, blah, blah, blah. How do I sail a ship? How do I build a birdhouse? How do I learn to play guitar, right? So there's so many ways to do this. So let's switch back to our PowerPoint there for just a second. So what are the fastest ways to create some of your own products? Well, I told you already a couple of them. I really want to go in depth a little bit more into the PDF and then expanding on the PDF, because I think interviews and PDFs go hand in hand, and here's how. For example, let's say you wanted to sell a How to Build a Birdhouse ebook, which is, as we know, just the Word doc turned into a PDF. That's all you need. You could find an expert, excuse me, and then interview that person and say, I'm going to ask you some questions because I don't know how to build a birdhouse, but I have a lot of questions, and I want to ask them, to you, and then you can give me the answers. So you conduct this interview with Joe so-and-so, the birdhouse building expert, and then you get that interview transcribed. You can go to transcriber, like on Odesk. You can even go to Fiverr.com, or just Google the words transcribe, transcription, transcriber, and that person will take the audio, usually recorded in an MP3 or perhaps sometimes a WAV file, right? And they could just turn that into text, and that text is returned to you in a Word doc, PDF, whatever you want. So you can create a little cute cover for it, and I'll show you how you can do that in a moment. And there you go. You put that cover on the first page. There's your information product, interview style, instant. But you also have the MP3 or the WAV file to give as well, right? So if you'll notice, let me go back and show you the most pressing example I can show you. If you'll notice here, you could sell the audios as well as the transcripts. And if you can see my pen here, this is the audio portion, or in our case, video, because I'm recording this video. And this would represent the transcripts portion, or any additional notes. This doesn't say transcripts because it's not transcripts, but it's any mind maps or notes or sheets or anything like that. So you could gather together audio and video, as well as the text of that, make screenshots of things, make flowcharts, whatever you want, and bundle it all together, and there's your information product, right? So recorded, let me go back to the mouse here for a second. So we can record screen capture, I should say, videos. And a great way to do that is use something called Jing, J-I-N-G. You can also use Camtasia, which is what I'm using right now, but Camtasia is expensive compared to Jing, which has a free version. So this is why I like Jing for folks. You can also find free conference lines, such as, let me just type this in, freeconferencecall.com. So all of this stuff can be done on the cheap, if not for free. So you can do screen capture videos using Jing. You can do free conference, oops, I spelled that wrong, conferencecall.com. And if you want to do your own videos, you can either use a laptop camera if you want to do face stuff, or a flip cam. You can get these very, very inexpensively. The flip cam even has a USB little plug on it. You just push a button and then the USB thing pops out, and you can stick the camera right into the computer. Very, very easy to use, very, very portable, a lot of fun to use. So personally, when it comes to video, I don't recommend you doing face-based, talking head video at first. I always prefer people to start off with Jing screen capture videos. And here's why: because they don't require all the extra layers of complexity, such as lighting, centering your face, focus. What if you stutter and oops, then I have to take it over again and restart the video. You don't have to lean forward and push the camera on and off. Screen capture videos like the one you're watching now are such a great, easy way to teach. And you don't need much for screen capture. I mean, look what I'm doing. Screen capture can be done easily with PowerPoint, Keynote on the Mac, Google Docs, or even good old Notepad, like this. Now, you might say, well, Sterling, I know you use all that high-tech fancy stuff with the red writing pen and all the graphics and all that stuff. Yeah, sure, we do expensive graphics, and, you can see all the different graphics that we do. We have a lot of different things here. But still, there's nothing wrong with going old school and just using Notepad. It gets the point across, right? It's easy to write really quickly. For those of you who want to learn how to write on the screen, you can go to Wacom and get a tablet. I think mine is called Graphire. No, I'm sorry. Mine is Bamboo. I used to have a Graphire. Now I have a Bamboo. Costs like $97, I think. It comes with a pen, and you can just write with it. Just write on the plastic, and then it translates into the screen. And then this thing, I think, is called Ink to Go on Mac. But they have an equivalent, because I'm on a Mac right now, they have an equivalent on Windows where you would just Google, do a search for PC Draw on Screen, pen, things like that. And these other companies will come up, and you can download a program there on your PC and do it. So now, look, you've got audio that you're doing. You're recording video on your screen capture through Jing. That hasn't cost you anything yet. Using good old Notepad or PowerPoint, you're making video, visual presentations. You can even take your mouse and draw things on there. I think this program cost me $20 or something for the Ink to Go. So you're already able, just in the little bit that I've taught you, to release a whirlwind of information products. And believe me, I've paid good money for products that were not much more complicated technologically than this, and yet the information was very valuable. So there have been information products that I've purchased where it's only this. It's just a guy recording a screen, and he says, okay, lesson 1, email deliverability, and then he'll say, do this, don't do that, and here's a link. And then he deletes the screen and goes lesson 2. And if you think, well, that's kind of easy and cheap looking, but that's fine, because the information is what I care about. Yeah, you might get a couple people who are really stuck on that. For example, I'm not capitalizing the L here. I could make this capital L, and then I could say email deliverable. But nobody cares. You're not going to not get the information because of that. So it's very important to get the right things right. And this is one of those things that is easy to do and get right. So these are some of the fastest ways that you can create your own products. I want to give you one more really, really fast way, and it's a favorite of mine. PLR. Private Label Rights. And that means that you can put your name as the author on something that somebody already wrote. Now it's not stealing or plagiarism, because the person created it specifically so that you could use it that way. They've made it for you so that you have the rights, right? The right to private label it. And private labeling just means sometimes a perfume company will make a perfume under a white label or private label, which means you could pay them a fee and license it and then call it your own. That's the private label of it. They also do that with clothes sometimes. So there's just different things that people do where they get to license something that somebody else makes. I'm sure if you ever bought a fragrance from somebody, Jennifer Lopez or Britney Spears or somebody, you know that they're not standing there in the laboratory with a mask on creating the formula for the perfume, right? They're not. They're just private labeling that. They're labeling that as their own. If they're not being an endorser of it, a spokesman, I'm talking about when they actually have their name on it, so-and-so's perfume. They're just having a perfume company make that, and they're labeling it. So this happens all the time. This is a legitimate, ethical business model. And there are private label rights providers. If you just look for PLR, private label rights, and then you might want to put content, private label rights, articles, etc., right? Ebooks, things like that. There are people who deliver this stuff. There are people who create sites that store this stuff. We have some of it at marketerlink.com, and we're adding to it. And it's a great shortcut. It's an instant, quick way to take something. And I prefer personally to take it and tweak it, add to it, or use it as a framework, or change it. I don't know if I've ever I don't think I've ever just turned PLR right around and slapped my name on it and passed it off as my own. But that's just because I love making products. It doesn't mean you can't do that, but I just prefer to put my little stamp on it. So here's a couple other little quick tips. Take your picture, have that made into a JPEG or a GIF that you can crop and use on a product. Go to Photoshop, or if you don't have Photoshop, which most people don't, look online for a signature creation site. So look for free signature maker, and then you can get yourself a little signature like this. That looks very similar to my signature, but it's not my actual signature because that's just too complicated to get into the system. So you just type it in and use a font, and it looks like your signature, and it's fine, and it gives a personal touch. And for being able to make things like this, these e-covers, you can actually go to our site, Marketer Link, and I've got inside of there an actual e-cover creator. So you can use it as a member of Marketer Link. And there are also other e-cover creators. So you can do e-cover maker, or e-cover generator, or ebook cover, make free online, things like that, right? And if you do want to go hardcore, you can get Photoshop, and then you can get layered PSD documents. What does PSD stand for? Photoshop document. But that's only for the real hardcore, serious folks. Most of you, 95% of you, I'd say just find an e-cover maker online, and then you can just go in and make pretty graphics like that. What's the difference between me talking in the office here and typing some things on Notepad by myself to nobody, or just sitting here talking, recording the screen of it while I'm typing on Notepad, and then afterwards put my picture on it, my signature, and make an e-cover, and boom, instant product. So I want you to see how easy this actually is to do, and there's some really, really fast ways to do it. So which type of products and to create, and why? Well, most of the time I would prefer that you create digital products, not physical products. Now, I started out my career making a big box information product, 10 CDs, 12 DVDs, 2 books full of transcripts. Yes, it can be done, but digital is just so much easier for several reasons. People can download it right away. There's no shipping required, so it's instant gratification. You don't have to worry about physically making inventory, shipping inventory, tracking inventory. You ship something to somebody got lost, you have to claim insurance. Yeah, there's a value in having physical items, and I like them, but it's an advanced tactic. So I would start with digital information products, and the simpler the better at first, because I always want to remove layers of complexity from you. So I wouldn't want you to start out having to do a 3-camera shoot when you can just use Jing and do it for free and use screen caps, right? If you want to show your face, put your picture up there. Hey, here's me, Sterling, talking. Nobody really cares. Nobody's going to return the information product and say, Sterling, I saw your picture on the screen. However, your lips were not moving, therefore I want my money back. Nobody cares. So don't overcomplicate it. I have a tendency to overcomplicate things sometimes. So I have to be really brutally simplistic and focus down on just getting it done, because getting it done is good enough most of the time. I don't mean to be sloppy, and I don't mean to tell you to mail it in and do less than your best, but get the right things right and do the right types of products. So that's why I want you to create instant information products using digital means like this. A couple other quick tips about some other things that you can add. It's not listed on here, but there's a couple other things I want you to add. You can go to a site like Gliffy.com, or maybe I think it's called create.ly, but don't hold me on to that one. You might want to Google that one. But I definitely know Gliffy.com allows you to create flowcharts. I think it's still free. And you can also go to a place called mindmeister.com. Check the spelling on that too. And that lets you do mind maps. And I also use a program on the Mac called MindNode Pro. You can find it on in the App Store. And just do mind map or mind mapping software in Google if you use a PC. And now these are excellent ways to include flowcharts, mind maps. I would also recommend that you do checklists, tutorials like, step 1, buy wood, step 2, cut wood, step 3, nail together, step 4, paint birdhouse. Pretty easy, right? Plus, you can also insert an image here. Let me get my pen for a second. You could maybe have a picture that you stuck in here of the type of wood to buy right here, and maybe some more text underneath this. This is what kind of wood, blah, blah, blah. And here you go, instant information product, because you really just want to solve people's problems. What you are is a professional problem solver. I'm going to write that down. And the big thing you want to solve is how do I, right? You can even create smaller information products that lead into bigger ones. The smaller ones can be the what and the why, and then you charge for the how. So for example, in the birdhouse metaphor, you could make a free report, right? About 7 birdhouse secrets. And it talks about what birdhouses are, why they're great, some tips and some strategies and some secrets. But if you want my full-on product, the birdhouse mastery video series, including mind maps, downloadable, checklists, charts, graphs, all kinds of stuff, then that's $27 or whatever, right? Etc. So now you can even lead into your charging for the how by giving away free the what and the why on a squeeze page, as we talked about yesterday in our list building course, Tuesday on our list building course, and you can charge for the how. And sometimes delivering value like what and why, don't worry about, well, what if I give away my free and stuff and my free information? Why would people want to buy it? Well, because delivering value drives desire. It doesn't diminish desire. People say, wow, this looks really good. I would love to see the stuff that he charges for. And I'll give you a perfect example. Now, when you see this video, this may or may not be still up there, so don't get upset if it's not. But currently, at my website, you can get my secret traffic strategy. So that looks like an information product, right? And it is. Except what you need to understand now that you know the secrets behind it is that I got interviewed on the phone for a master's series by someone else for his course. Actually, David Fry had Marusha Murphy interview me for some kind of web mastery summit or information marketers summit or something, traffic summit, I don't remember. And he sold tickets to that, and we got interviewed and we got to promote ourselves, and so it was a win-win for everybody. That's more of an advanced monetization strategy using JVs, which we could talk about in a different video. But I was given, of course, the MP3 of my recording and my transcript. So here's the MP3. You see, we made the CD, and here's the transcript. And now, by creating this image and putting the cover together on it, which they did not provide to us, and naming it my secret traffic strategy, because that's what it was about. It was over an hour conversation about using JVs to get traffic, for free and quickly, easily, and effectively. So now this is my free downloadable report. Now I don't happen to promote anything inside of the report. I just never got around to, people stick all kinds of affiliate links in there and make all kind of list building, come-ons like, hey, click here to go to my website and then get this other thing. So, it kind of pulls people into your funnel. But this was just as is. I just put the cover on it and I hand it out for free. So this is a list builder for me. and it helps people get to know me, get to know who I am. And so overall, it worked out really, really well. And this is nothing more than two people talking on the phone. That's it. Just two people on the phone. Then got it transcribed. Then we made our graphics for it. Now it's a downloadable PDF and a downloadable MP3. And you can just opt in there and see on the other page, it looks exactly the same as this, except the words changed to here is your download, and there's two little blue links that says download your MP3 here and download your PDF here, and that's it. And when you open it up, it just looks like regular words on a page. There's nothing complicated about it. So I don't want to show you all kinds of different crazy strategies and get you overwhelmed, when in reality it's very, very easy to do. Very easy. So those are some advanced tips I gave you. Now let's talk about how to get paid to create information products. This is something I love talking about. Let's say, for example, that you wanted to create an information product, but perhaps you weren't able to get yourself to do it. Here's what I would do. Set up a free conference line, like I told you before how to do. Then I would have you make a list of things you know about your topic, or use PLR as the basis of your content, and you are going to create a teleseminar. You can also create a webinar, but you're going to need webinar technology like streaming video, like I'm doing now, because there are people in the audience listening to this. For those of you in the audience, you already know you're there, but for people who are watching the recording, we're live with people. So you would need to Google how to do a webinar. But keeping it simple, go to freeconferencecall.com, get a free conference line, make a list that you could talk about for half an hour or so, and create a teleseminar. Just here's the easy way to do a curriculum. Super simple. 3 steps. 1, tell them what you're going to tell them. Number 2, tell them. Number 3, tell them what you just told them. And I know it sounds like a joke, but it's not. That's how easy it is. Tell them what you will tell them, then tell them what you told them. Now, I got that from training as a public speaker, and that's real stuff. People pay good money for that advice. It sounds silly, but it's true. So if you check my PowerPoint, you'll see, hi, welcome to the Product Creation Masterclass. This is our objective, and here's what I'm going to tell you. Do you notice that I did that? I do that every time. And now, here's me actually on step 2. I'm telling you. Now, I don't usually wrap up these masterclasses with a big summary, but in other information products, I do a more of a summary. Sometimes I even provide notes sheets, and you can also, here's a special little tip, you can do notes blanks. So for example, you could do this. This is just a little side note I forgot. Set up a blank, then create a blank, and then, etc. So this you would print out and hand somebody in a PDF format. You would call it your, class notes sheet. So now, as you read through your curriculum, your little list of things you know how to do, they will follow along, and then I'll say, set up a free conference line, and everybody can write down, okay, free conference line, right? Then create a curriculum. Okay, create a curriculum. And so it's like a class. It's very, very simple to do. Doesn't take long at all. But now, you've set up your teleseminar, and you can charge anything for it, $7 even, it doesn't matter. But get a couple people to attend, and now you're recording your live event, whether it's a teleseminar, webinar, whatever. And that MP3 or video file, if you're doing a webinar, and the PDF, if you choose to provide one, become your product. So you can get paid money to create your product, which you can then sell for more money. Very simple. I knew a guy who did this with his book. He was writing a book. He was an author, and he was just having trouble, I think, getting started or something. I can't remember what the problem was, but he said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create a course on getting your book done. And what I want to do is have, like, 20 chapters of my book, so I'm going to have a 20-week course, and every week I'm required to deliver my chapter of the book new, and I will go over how I did it, and then the class can write their chapter after that, and we can talk about things as a coaching program. So every week he had to deliver his new chapter of his book, and he had charged a high-end ticket price for his coaching program, because he promised that you'll get your book done over 20 weeks while I get my book done. And so he got paid to create the book, which he then got paid when he sold, right? Which he then got paid for when he sold it. So he got paid to get paid. This is how you can get paid to create your own information products. And of course you might say, well, where do I find the people to do it? Hey, go to Fiverr.com, say, I will teach you XYZ for $5, right? And get somebody. The point isn't how much money it is. It's just that you start to get in the process of, one of my favorite words, monetizing your information, right? Turn what's in your head into cash. Content into cash, right? So let's move on to how to get others to do the work for you. Well, we talked about one of those ways already, which was interview. Now, of course, the caveat here, the warning here, is to make sure that you give people a copy of the interview that you do. And, I'm not a lawyer, and I don't want to give you any legal advice because I'm not able to, but you want to research work for hire or, some kind of release form. I can't provide these for you, but I can certainly tell you where to go. Go to Google, and an attorney can help you with that, so that you can make sure you have the rights to use an interview. You certainly don't want to have somebody come after you later that says you shouldn't have. So don't do any kind of interview work without having a legal agreement with that person that you're allowed to use theirs, and of course allow them to use it too. That's only fair. But the very interesting thing about how to get others to do the work for you is that interviews are not the only way to do that. We talked about another great way, which is PLR. That's a fascinating way to do it. You can also do webinar training or teleseminar training, where you do surveys, and then you both post questions and get answers. So for example, you can go to a group and say, hey, what are the top 10 things you want to know about this particular subject? They tell you, and then you can ask them what the answers are if the group knows. So you can distribute the work around. So maybe one person in the group knows one thing about birdhouse building, the other person knows another thing, and the group can be a sort of a group dialogue, group feedback, and it's a great way to get information from a group, sort of like a group interview, but more using surveys. So there's a lot of different ways to get other people to do the work for you. Of course, the old-fashioned way is to just outsource. Tell the guy or the gal, I want a 55-page report, X number of words on how to build a rowboat. I want 10 photos, 3 diagrams, and I want HTML download page as well. And just outsource that. So you could go to odesk.com or some other kind of place that does that, where you can actually ask people to do this work for you. You just say, hey, who will bid on this for me? Now, you may not get any bids, or you may get a bid that's not the price you want, but there are plenty of people who can do the work and will be happy to do the work for you as a work for hire and give it to you so that you can put your name on it and present it. Believe me, happens all the time. Many famous stars have worked with a ghostwriter, and only a few of them have actually admitted to it. You'll see, Star Guys, written by Star Guy with other dude right? By Oprah with so-and-so, if she were to do that. I don't know if she actually did that. Or, by Johnny Carson with so-and-so, if he were to do that, right? So this is how many people get this type of thing done. I even heard David Lee Roth from Van Halen actually did his bio, his entire 400-page bio, by having somebody follow him around with a tape recorder. I promise you, for like a year, the guy followed him around with a tape recorder, and he just told all his little life stories. The guy assembled all the information, edited it together, and handed it over to him, and he said, good, I just wrote a book, here's my life story. Alex Mendozian was the one who taught me to write with your voice. And folks, that's exactly what I'm doing right this very minute. I'm writing with my voice. I have a basic agenda. I have a basic grasp of the things I want to do. I got those done ahead of time. And now I'm just writing with my voice. So one final thing, how to multi-purpose your content over and over again. This is really cool. So your content, right, is usually in the form of copy. Copy means words. Now, they could be originally spoken, audio words. They could be written. And when I say spoken audio, I should, say or video, because even though this is a video screen capture recording, it's also recording my audio on the video. So some people would say it's audio, some people would say it's the audio part of the video, whatever. But I have words, and these words can be written and transcribed, right? So now, these written and transcribed words can be turned into the following things: free reports, articles, scripts for other videos, right? Blog posts. You can even put them together into combine into new products. For example, some guys have gone the other way where they've taken their top 100 most popular blog posts and then combined them into an ebook. My blogging tips, or whatever, life of a blogger, or 101 blogging tips, or whatever it is. So that you get the idea. So once you have it, it's kind of like, I use the chocolate metaphor a lot. It's an analogy which says, imagine you have a vat of chocolate at a factory, right? What can you do with that vat of liquid chocolate? Well, you can make bite-sized pieces, right? You can make candy bars. You can make those, bunnies, chocolate bunnies, etc. You can distribute that same chocolate all kinds of different ways. Form it into this form, people eat it. Form it into that form, people eat it. Small chunks, big chunks, shaped chunks, right? You could probably even turn it into cakes, etc., right? So content is like chocolate. It flows. It's just liquid form. And then you can move it into all of these different shapes and reshape it over and over again. In fact, an internet marketing infopreneur that I know once said, never use information only once. Never use it single use only. Always double use it. So use it for what you use it for, and then use it for something else. So I charge attendance fees for registration for these master classes, and there are people live on these sessions. We talk before. I ask for feedback. Is there anything specific you'd like me to cover about product creation? I take some notes. Then I do the presentation I have, work in that information. Then I stop the recording, go live with the folks again, unmute and say, okay, was there anything else that you have further questions on? Did I tell you something that you need clarification? Did it lead to a new question, etc.? I answer those questions. And now this recording, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little red, kind of like a film strip icon here. That means that the Camtasia is recording the presentation while I speak, taking my audio and my moves of my mouse and everything. Then that is uploaded not only for the people who were in attendance so they can review it again, it's also uploaded for people who didn't make it to the actual masterclass. And then after that's over with, this is also a product of mine that I can now sell or give away for free. And there's nothing wrong with giving it away for free, by the way, because the people who are getting it for free did not get the opportunity to be here. People are here live now. They are asking questions before and after it. I spend sometimes a lot of time with an individual talking about an individual situation, so it's almost like a coaching situation. So there's nothing wrong with selling it and then giving it away for free. I don't like when I see these people, sell a $2,000 information product, in January, and then in February they give the $2,000 product away as a free bonus for something else. I think that undervalues it. And how would you feel if 5 minutes after you paid $2,000 for it, it was free everywhere? So I don't like that. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about using it, delivering it for what it's for, and then multi-purposing it, not just as a free giveaway, but also you can combine it with other things. So whenever I do a coaching or training program, which I do a lot of, I always make sure to try to include as much previous recorded content as possible, because people can't always spend all the time with me. Sometimes they have extra time. Even when I'm a student, I have extra time that I can't speak to the person who's the trainer, the instructor. So if he gives me some videos to watch, that's helpful because I can catch up on my own time. So these are multi-purpose ways you can do it. I could take this entire presentation today, strip it down into probably 25 articles, maybe 50, maybe 100, I don't know. But if you figure the average person talks 200 to 300 words per minute, and the average article is 400, 500, 600 words. So every couple minutes, I've got a new article. Now, of course, not all of it is usable, and there's a lot of ums and ahs and silly stuff that you couldn't use, but depending on how long you go, there's a lot of article content in there. Yes, you'd have to have somebody shape it. You would probably want to hire what you would call, a copy editor, right? Copy, what we talked about before, means not to photocopy something or make a duplicate. Copy in this case means content or text, but get somebody to form it into article form or whatever. And so now you have all kinds of different ways that you can use this content over and over again. So I hope that was a helpful presentation for you on product creation. It is a great way to deliver what you know, serve a community, while simultaneously monetizing what's in your own mind. And I think that overall, we all could probably do a lot more product creation if we wanted to, if we just understood the value of what we already have.